ICT campus. So this short course, which will be running for 5 days, 2 hours in one day. So we got like 5 2-hour sessions. And in these sessions, we will be discussing some basic but very important concepts and ideas related to the research methodology. And we will going through some examples, as well as you will get a good chance to ask for questions and get clarified with your questions. Then by the end of this course, you will be able to start planning some of your own research if you are looking forward to, and also you will get a valuable certificate from the ICET campus. Basically, this course we are conducting in more like bilingual. So I'll be speaking English, but at the same time, I will use Sinhala language as well. And you can also use both languages if you need to get clarified something, or if you do not understand, or if you are not very compatible with English language. In that case, it's totally acceptable to speak in Sinhala as well. So let's have a good time in this course and get a good knowledge, and then finally we'll have a good outcome after finishing this course. Let me share my screen with you first. Okay. Hope you can see my screen. Right.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. So I would like to start with one statement. ගොඩක් වෙලාවට අපි රිසර්ච් ගැන කතා කරනකොට කට්ටිය බයයි. බුදුවම්මෝ කියලා තමයි පටන් ගන්නේ. So you know everything for doing anything, we need to contribute, we need to commit ourselves. It goes same for the research as well. Do you want to become a successful researcher? If you want to conduct research and become a successful researcher, always remember this path involves continuous learning and also continuous mistakes and failures. එකපාරම හරියටම 100% correct research එකක් කරපු කෙනෙක් මං හිතන්නේ ලේසියකට හොයාගන්න පුළුවන් කියලා. මම කියන තනියම. Without guidance or anything, if you can conduct a research without making any failures, then you are a genius. සමහරට අහලා ඇති තෝමස් අල්වා එඩිසන්ට බල්බ් එක හොයාගන්නත් 10 වෙනි වතාවේ තමයි හොයාගත්තේ කියලා කියනවා. බල්බ් එකේ ෆිලමන්ට් එකට දාන කැල්ල. එතකොට තෝමස් අල්වා එඩිසන් එහෙම කරා නම් අපි වගේ රිසර්ච් කරනකොට අපිට කොච්චර වරදින්න පුළුවන්ද? So you have to hold yourself and you have to commit yourself, and then you will be able to conduct a good research one day. Don't worry if you first make mistakes with your project. You will feel hard, you will feel like giving up, but by the end you will gather a great amount of knowledge. පළවෙනි මේක බොහෝම ස්මූත්ලි දුවන රිසර්ච් ප්‍රොජෙක්ට් එකක් නම් වෙන්නේ නැති වෙයි. හැබැයි ඊට පස්සේ පළවෙනි එකෙන් ගන්න එක්ස්පීරියන්ස් එකත් එක්ක බොහොම සක්සස් රිසර්ච් කෙනෙක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. So with this thought, we will start our first session. We are starting to discuss regarding research methodology, and before we are going into our discussion, let's have some understanding regarding what we are doing, what are our backgrounds, and then it will give some insight, especially to discuss regarding these examples kind of things. It will helpful to each other to know about ourselves. So I will start by introducing myself. My name is Timira Amarasinghe. So I have worked in different background. So I started at University of Peradeniya at the Faculty of Allied Health Sciences as a demonstrator, and then at Medical Faculty of University of Peradeniya as a research assistant, and then I ended up at University of Colombo as a lecturer, and now finally I'm working at Perth Royal Infirmary in United Kingdom as a registered nurse. So during my time at these different universities, and even here at United Kingdom, I'm dealing with multiple research projects and some research publications as well, because I'm interested in research. So this is about me, and I would like to know about yourself as well. So if you could turn on your mic and tell me about your name and what you are doing, like whether you are a student, you are employed. If you are employed, what is the field? මෙන්න මේගේ පොඩි විස්තර ටිකක් කියන්න පුළුවන් නම් එතකොට අපිට පොඩි අදහසක් අරගෙන මේ ඉස්සරහට කතා කරගෙන යනකොට example එහෙම ගන්න දේවල් කරගෙන යන්න පුළුවන්. Okay, so we got some participants. Okay, I don't see names for everybody else. එහෙන් දෙක එක්කෙනා mic on කරලා ඉන්සරේ කතා කරන්න පුළුවන් නම් අපිට දැනගන්න පුළුවන් අපි කොහොමද මේ කොයි වගේ කට්ටියද මෙතන අපේ audience එකේ ඉන්නේ කියලා. Okay, I'll give the chance to you guys now.
Good evening. I'm Vasudeva, postgraduate student in forensic pathology.
All right.
Currently working in South Africa.
Okay, nice to meet you.
Good evening, sir. I'm Vindhya Varakaguda. I'm a psychological counselor. I have my basic degree, BSc in psychology, and I am at the moment registered for a MPhil at Peradeniya University.
Okay, nice to meet you.
Good evening, sir. I'm Netmine. I'm a doctor working at Avisavela Hospital. I am planning to do my postgraduates in clinical oncology.
Okay, nice to meet you. I think right. Anyone else? Okay. Right. It seems like all of us are coming from kind of nearly similar backgrounds, so it would be much easier. However, when I was preparing this presentations, I might have included some examples which are going in different fields, because at the beginning I did not had a clear idea regarding how how the audience would be, so I put examples from different areas. However, that's okay. So now we got some basic idea regarding who we are. So let's look into which kind of things that we are going to discuss in these sessions. So basically, what we are looking into is the quantitative research methods. So I'm going to discuss in details later on, but basically quantitative research methods, it is one of the method that very easy to understand when it's come to research methodologies from different kinds, and it has very straightforward access. So that's why I have selected this in this short course. So we will be going through different approaches, because this quantitative research include a number of different approaches, and also some areas where people are struggling with, like focusing on the sampling technique, sample calculation kind of things as well. And also we will focus on some ethical considerations, especially where the humans are involving. And also we will focus on the basic ideas. So certain things like the development of titles and objectives kind of things as well. Altogether, as a collective, what we are focusing is the basic design of a research project. And at the end of this course, I'll be going some details regarding development of a basic research project, research proposal as well. I understand that some of you have this knowledge and also might have conducted some research. So I would value your input as well in this course. If you get any questions or any queries, so always feel free to ask or just send a message through the chat. Okay. However, when conducting this course, since we have different people from different backgrounds and also we have some undergraduates as well, therefore I'm focusing on everybody and I'll be going from the 0 point. එතකොට හැම පැත්තෙම කට්ටිය ඉන්න හින්දා මම මේ කතා කරනකොට 0 level එකේ ඉඳන් පටන් අරන් කතා කරනවා. So sometimes you may feel like I know this thing, but I ask you to bear with that since we have to follow the design of this course. Okay. Right. Research. Just before jumping into this term research, we will ask ourselves, why do we need to conduct research? Or why I am going to conduct a research? This is one of the important questions that we need to ask ourselves. Research එකක් කරනකොට තමයි මුලින්ම අහන්න ඕන මෙන්න මේ ප්‍රශ්නේ. Why I am doing this? Why I have decided to do this research? There may be multiple reasons. හේතු ගණනාවක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. If you are an individual researcher or a student, the answer would be obvious. You have been told to do so. කරන්න සිද්ධ වෙන හින්දා, since it is a must or it may be kind of a requirement, that's why I have to do this research. This is the answer for most of the people. So why need to do research? If you are following a degree program, in some undergraduate program there are research projects. In master programs, some master programs, there are like masters by coursework and master by research. So based on the master program you are following, you will have to do research. And same goes for the PhD, but usually for the doctoral research, there are a research component is included most of the time. There are some PhD programs without research, but like 90% of the PhD programs, they got research component as well. And also other doctorate program, for an example, like MD programs, maybe other doctorate in other specialties, like according to my following my field in the DNPs, which is called as doctorate in nursing. So we got this different kind of programs, higher education programs where a research is compulsory. So that is one requirement. That's why we are doing it. And the other thing, so this is where the research get interested, because something has fascinated you. You see something, you observe something, මොකක් හරි දකිනවා, පේනවා. So you need to find more about it and come to a conclusion. දකින දේ ගැන හරි තීරණයක් කොහොමද ගන්න කියන එක. මම මේ දකින දේ කොහොමද පැහැදිලි කරන්නේ? How can I explain what I observe? Is it is it happening only here or is it something common? මේක මේ මෙතන දකින දේ විතරද? මේක වෙන තැනක කොහොමද වෙන්නේ? මේක වෙන රටක කොහොමද වෙන්නේ? So this is where we are discussing regarding this research projects. And also, if you are a reader, if you are a knowledge seeker, so we got some counselors, some doctors, and also undergraduate students. We all are following the updated knowledge relevant to our fields. When we are following this knowledge, sometimes we notice certain things are missing. දැන් අපි හොයනවා මොනවාම හරි ඉන්ටර්වෙන්ෂන් එකක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්, නැත්නම් පොලිසි එකක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්, මොන හරි ප්‍රැක්ටිස් වෙන දෙයකට ගයිඩ්ලයින් එකක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. අපි මේක හොයනකොට තේරෙනවා අපි හොයන සමහර දේවල් වලට උත්තරයක් නැහැ කියලා. නැත්නම් අපිට ඕන උත්තරේ ගන්න තියෙන දැනුම මදි කියලා. So we call this as a gap in knowledge. Gap in knowledge in our fields. Based on one of these reasons, we might need to do a research. Either you need to do, since it is a requirement for your studies or whatever the reason. Either you are fascinated by the research, you like to do research, or you find or you see some gaps in the knowledge. However, the main concern or one of the reasons why people are giving up on the research is losing the interest. At the beginning, you are so motivated, you are so interested, and you are looking into like making a major finding through the research. But suddenly, or once you start your work, you see I need to do this, I need to do that, I have to get this data collected, I have to prepare this experiment. So you give up. How you can remain interested in this research? Then මෙන්න මේක තමයි රිසර්ච් එකක් කරන කෙනෙක්ට වෙන්න පුළුවන් බරපතලම දේ, losing the interest. If you lose your interest, we won't be able to complete it as we expected. This is especially, right? This is especially related with some advanced research programs, especially if you are planning to do a like PhD research project or MPhil research project. Keeping your interest throughout the project, because these research go for years. Then you have to carefully plan how I am going to keep my interest in my research. But your choices might be limited. If you have the liberty to select a topic, always go for a topic that interests you, not the others. This is my first advice. තමන් රිසර්ච් එකක් කරනවා නම් තමන්ට ඉන්ට්‍රස්ට් ටොපික් එකක් වෙන්න ඕනේ. වෙන අයට ඉන්ට්‍රස්ට් ටොපික් එකක් වෙන්න බෑ. මොකද තමන්ට ටොපික් එකේ ඉන්ට්‍රස්ට් නැත්නම් තමන් ඒක හරියට කරන්නෙත් නෑ, වෙන අයට ඒක ඉන්ට්‍රස්ට් වෙන්නෙත් නෑ. But we don't always get this opportunity to select our own topic. In this occasion, we have to select a topic, or we have to follow a topic which is already selected on behalf of us. ගොඩක් වෙලාට අපිට සිද්ධ වෙනවා විශේෂයෙන්ම අපි මොන හරි ස්ටඩීස් කරනකොට අපිට තෝරලා දෙන ටොපික් එකක් ෆලෝ කරන්න. If you are following a higher degree program or some postgraduate studies, the research title or the project might be offered to you by a senior member or a supervisor or a principal investigator. In that case, how you can maintain your interest? So that you can do by choosing a proper research method. So the research method should be interested by you. Like I said, there are different research approaches. You can do certain things by like sitting on a bench, mixing some chemicals. Those things here are called as experimental research. Are you that kind of person? Then you can go for that kind of experiments. Are you more of a human person? Are you loving the social interactions, speaking, interviewing people? Then these experiments are not for you. මිනිසුත් එක්ක වැඩ කරන්න, මිනිසුත් එක්ක කතා කරන්න එහෙම කැමති නම් අර එක්ස්පෙරිමන්ට් පැත්ත ගැලපෙන්නේ. In that case, you might go for something like qualitative research or interview-based one, survey, those kind of things. එතකොට මිනිසුත් එක්ක වැඩ කරන්න පුළුවන් ඒ විදිහේ research model එකක් තෝරගන්න ඕනේ. If you are more like a statistician, if you are like numbers, and then your research approach would be quantitative method, including some advanced statistics. Numbers එක වැඩ කරන්න, databases handle කරන්න, ඒ වගේ දේවල්වලට තමන් කැමති නම් පුළුවන් තරම් අපි කියන්නේ statistics ඒ පැත්ත සලකලා බලන්න පුළුවන්. So it all about yourself. When you are planning and when you are doing your research, always keep your interest. That is the first advice. Now, once you have asking these questions and make your mind about the research project, then comes the question, what is a research? What is a research? So, the meaning of the research, it includes in the term itself. Research. Searching again and again. නැවත නැවතත් සෙවීම. search කරනවා කියන හොයනවා කියන එක. නැවත නැවතත් හොයනවා කියන එක තමයි මේ research කියලා කියන්නේ. You are not searching one time, but again and again and again, and come to a conclusion. So this process we called as a scientific method. We use this method throughout our life at certain point, not especially planning and doing things. අපි මේ scientific process එක සම්පූර්ණ scientific විදිහට නෙමෙයි, හැබැයි අපි day to day life එකෙත් මේක අපි යොදා ගන්නවා. මොන හරි ප්‍රශ්නයක් දැක්කම ඒකට විසඳුමක් හොයන්න. We do some observations, we do some background finding, and then we try some solutions and see whether the problem is solved. Isn't this what you are doing in day-to-day life? මේක නේද අපි හැමදාම කරන්නේ? Think about your day-to-day life activities. You are trying to prepare some food and you observe. Okay? You observe that your kitchen items are finishing. You don't have any ingredient to start with your meal. කිසිම දෙයක් නෑ දැන් මේක කෑම හදන්න පටන් ගන්න. So because of that, what you need to do is you have to select some options. You have to make some decisions regarding these food items. So you can ask yourself why this has happened. So you are doing some background search. You are doing some background search. Why this has happened? Did I forget to buy these things? Did someone brought them? Did someone took them away? Did I bought them but forgot to bring them here? So you ask yourself. Then you go for solutions. What can I do to solve this problem? I can order something online. I can go to the supermarket and buy something, come back and prepare. I can go to a restaurant and eat there. So you get some solutions. And among them, you find what is the most convenient method for you. Okay, I can't go to the supermarket and cook now. There's no time. So I will remove that solution. I can't go out, I just came back from the work, so I'm not going into a restaurant to eat out. So the solution I'm going to follow is to order some food and eat it at home. මෙන්න මේ විදිහට අපි එදිනදා ජීවිතයේදී විසඳුම් හොයනවා ප්‍රශ්නවලට. And after doing that, you ask some new questions. If this not to be happened again, what should I do? So you make a plan not to happen it again. So this kind of methods we are doing every day. We are following these methods. Think about the broken tap. You see water is everywhere. Then you find for the place of this, where this leaking is happening. You assume it is a leakage from the tap, a breakdown in the plastic tubes. Then based on that, you go for the solutions. And then you again assess what is the final outcome and what you can do to prevent happening these kind of accidents again. So when we incorporate these things in a scientific way, into an organized, systematic way, we call this as a research methodology. So rather than randomly picking up things, making random decisions, we are following some systematic, scientific method to solve some problems based on our observations and doing some interventions. එතකොට අපි දකින නිරීක්ෂණ අනුව, අපි කරන නිරීක්ෂණ අනුව විද්‍යාත්මක ක්‍රමවේදයක් යටතේ කොහොමද අපි ප්‍රශ්නයකට විසඳුම් හොයන්නේ? This is what we are doing in the scientific method. Right. So in the scientific method, it always is starting with some observations. And based on these observations, we make some questions. So in the research methodology, we call this as research questions. For an example, right, let's talk about social media. We see social media, they are getting very popular and being an essential part of our day-to-day life. At the same time, you observe social medias are invading privacy of the people. මිනිසුන්ගේ පෞද්ගලිකත්වයට හානි වෙනවා මේ සමාජ මාධ්‍ය වලින්. මේක ඔයගොල්ලෝ දකින observation එක. Now, you ask questions about this. In your mind, you will get some questions. To what extent this privacy is invaded? Or how this privacy issues affecting the use of social media users' life. කොහොමද මේක බලපාන්නේ ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ life එකට මේ privacy පෞද්ගලිකත්වය හානි වෙන විදිය. How people, social media users are feeling about these privacy invasions. Now, you're trying to find answers for these questions. So what we are doing is we do some background search for the some more understanding, some background. We call this as literature survey. What are the available data? What are the available information regarding these questions? Has anyone, maybe from Sri Lanka, maybe from some other country, has they done something regarding this? Have they found anything? මොනාහරි හොයාගෙන තියෙනවද? මොනවාද කරලා තියෙන්නේ? So based on that, we build up a hypothesis. Hypothesis means some assumption, kind of assumption, upakalpanaya. When we are searching through the literature, we can see, yes, there is this evidence. In America, this privacy invasions has been happened. In China, this has happened. So they banned some of these platforms. So you find some information. Then you come to a hypothesis or an assumption telling, yes, my assumption is, I assume that based on this data, available ones, people, social media users privacy is being affected. මේ තියෙන දේවල් වලින් මට හිතෙනවා ඔව් මෙහෙම සමාජ මාධ්‍ය වලින් මිනිසුන්ගේ පෞද්ගලිකත්වයට හානි වෙනවා කියලා. And then I plan an experiment. මේක ඇත්තද කියලා බලන්න. So I want to test whether this hypothesis is true or wrong. දැන් මම මේ කරපු උපකල්පනය හරිද වැරදිද කියලා බලන්න ඕනේ. මම experiment එකක් කරනවා. So I plan some kind of experiment. So I'm not going to explain that one. It would be a little bit difficult for some of you. On a suitable methodology, I plan an experiment. I collect some data. And finally, I come to a conclusion. So the conclusion sometime may be supporting this hypothesis. So sometime not supporting hypothesis. සමහර විට මම මේන conclusion එක මගේ අර උපකල්පනයට ගැලපෙන්නත් පුළුවන් නොගැලපෙන්නත් පුළුවන්. Okay. Sometime it will tell, yes, according to my research, social media users privacy is not being invaded. දැන් කලින් කට්ටිය එහෙම කිව්වට මගේ රිසර්ච් එකේ විදියට එහෙම එකක් මට හොයාගන්න බැරි වුණා. So that would be your conclusion. Then you share the result. And if need, you develop some interventions. මොනවා හරි කරන්න දේවල් තියෙනවා. Privacy data leak වෙන එක නවත්තන්න. I can do this. I can inform these companies something. Then you do some interventions if needed. And see whether the problem is solved, whether you got the answers and ask new questions about that. And based on these questions, you do some observations and this cycle continues. So this is the scientific method. And the research methodology is following this scientific method. You do observations, you raise some questions and do some background search. And then you do some experiment and then come to conclusions. Then you share result, do some interventions and see whether you got the answers. If not, we go through this cycle again. So this is what we are doing again and again. In any field, in any research method, this is the steps we are following. Whether it is health field, finance field, tourism, education, any field you mention, this is the scientific method you need to follow if you are doing a proper research. Okay. Right. So this is the background that we need to know before we are going into the scientific method. Before we are going into the research method. So we know that we need to have some motivations before starting a research. And then now we know we need to follow this scientific method. Then the next important thing is understanding these 5 elements about conducting research. When we are going to do a research, you should be able to answer these 5 questions. We call this as 5 W's. What, why, who, where, when. What is your research? Why you are doing this research? Who are the people participating in your research? Where is the research being conducted? And when the research is being conducted. So you need to answer these questions if you need to conduct a successful research. Okay. So let's go one by one. Remember, this is the pathway of developing your topic. Okay. What is your research about? So this is where we develop our topic. Now, this is where most of the people are getting stuck. I have seen myself Sometime, especially when I was working in the university, මම මේක ගොඩක් දැකලා තියෙන විශේෂයෙන්ම undergraduate research කරනකොට student ලා they stuck with the topic, and finally they do some searching on the internet or Google or whatever, and then slightly change a topic they find there and then present it. So don't do that one. If you want to do a research, you need to develop the topic by yourself. But here, you are not alone. You can get multiple assistants. Now, the very first thing is start with a general topic. Don't try to come up with a very specific topic on your first try. Select a general topic. බොහොම පොදු මාතෘකාවක් තෝරගන්න. So let's say let's go with a topic like nutrition. It's a very general, very broad topic. පෝෂණය කියන මාතෘකාව. So, like I said, this general topic you are selecting, it should be interest to you. තමන්ට මේක interest topic එකක් වෙන්න ඕනේ. And at the same time, you have to think, will it interest others? Why? Because you are going to present this research to the outside world. You are not going to put this in a locker and shut it. Otherwise, there is no use of conducting the research. Research එකක් කරාන් පස්සේ ඒක අපි publish කරන්න ඕනේ. Conference වල ඒ වගේ present කරන්න ඕනේ, paper එකකට දාන්න ඕනේ. So, will they listen to me? These questions you need to ask. It should be interest to you, and you should think, will others be interested in your topic? So now you have got a general topic, and then gather some background information. So when it's come to gathering background information, now we are so lucky. Why? We got internet. Within minutes, within seconds, we can get any information we need. The best way to do the information gathering would be using the search engines. Now, when it's come to these search engines, you can do simple surveys like simple searchings using like Google or Yahoo search engines. But remember, there are specific places where you can gather more specific data related to your desired field. තමන් ඉන්ට්‍රෙස්ට් නැත්නම් තමන් රිසර්ච් එක කරන ෆීල්ඩ් එකට අදාළව ඒකටම ගැලපෙන විස්තර තියෙන අවශ්‍ය තොරතුරු තියෙන databases තියෙනවා. So you have to find what are these specific databases for your expertise or your field, and then you can use those databases to get more specific background information. So the simple way, the easiest way is to use some search through Google, Yahoo, Bing, or whatever the search engines. You type what you need and see what is coming up. But if you are formally doing a research, please use these databases. Now, here I have put a couple of information. Some databases. So these are specific to each of these expert areas. So this database, which we called as Bloomberg, this is something going with business and finance fields. This database. And this is one of the most popular databases. Google Scholar. So this Google Scholar, this includes academic publications from multiple disciplinaries. මෙතනදී එක ෆීල්ඩ් එකක් කියලා නෑ මේ Google Scholar කියන එකේ ගොඩාක් පබ්ලිකේෂන් තියෙනවා එක එක ෆීල්ඩ් වල ඉන්න රිසර්චර්ස්ලා තමන්ගේ ප්‍රොෆයිල් වලින් පබ්ලිෂ් කරපු. So for an example, when it's come to me, I'm coming from a health background. So my publication would be related to the health field on Google Scholar. And if there are someone coming with a education background, then you could they would put their educational publications or research details into this Google Scholar database. So this is one of the basic but also a good source for the beginner researchers for the background information. මුලින්ම රිසර්ච් එකක් කරන කෙනෙක් නම් ලොකු අදහසක් නැත්තම් කොහෙන්ද විස්තර හොයන්නේ? මෙන්න මේ Google Scholar කියන එක ගොඩක් උදව් ගන්න පුළුවන් තැනක් ඕනම ෆීල්ඩ් එකක කෙනෙක්ට. විශේෂයෙන්ම තමන් මොන ඩේටාබේස් වලද හොයන්නේ කියලා හැම විස්තර දන්නෙත් නැත්තම්. And this is another popular one, PubMed. So this one is related to the health field. So this PubMed Central or PubMed database, this includes all health related. This is a large database including health related research. And this EBSCO, this is related to the tourism, hotel, hospitality, tourism. If someone conducting research related to this field, this website, this website or the search engine will provide some details. And this one called as ERIC, another database. This is regarding education field. මොනවාරි අපි generally කියන්නේ අධ්‍යාපනික කියන්නේ education වලට සම්බන්ධ ඕනම field එක education වලට සම්බන්ධව කරන පරීක්ෂණ ඒවට අපිට access වෙන්න පුළුවන් database එකක් තමයි ERIC කියලා කියන්නේ. These are only some examples. Now you might be thinking, okay, now we know there are such databases, how we access them, how we search them. And topic එකක් දන්නෙත් නැත්නම් topic එක හදාගන්න නම් යන්නේ. අපි කොහොමද මේක search කරන්නේ? මොනවාදාලද search කරන්නේ? Don't worry. One of our sessions would be regarding literature searching. So there I will be telling you about how to access these databases and about this. Some needs special access permissions, but there are free accessing databases. I will show how to do this searching using keywords, those kind of things. Do not need to worry at this point. අතර ඒ කොටස කොහොමද මේවා search කරන්නේ? කොහොමද access වෙන්නේ කියන එක අපි වෙනමම session එක කතා කරන example එක්කම මම session එක වෙලාවම access වෙලා ඔයගොල්ලන්ට පෙන්නනවා. So don't think about at this point. Then I put some questions here. One of these popular topics these days, AI, artificial intelligence. Lot of artificial intelligence are there. Might be something like ChatGPT, Copilot, Gemini. Lot of AI has been built to help you with this research kind of things. But remember, they can mislead you. AI සෑම විටම නිවැරදි කියලා හිතනවා නම් ඒක ලොකු වැරද්දක් කරගන්න. You can test this. Sometimes they lie to us because they are not like all knowing sources. They also do some search. They access some website, they search through the internet, and then they provide answers. So you can't just rely on artificial intelligence, these programs, when you are doing research. That is one thing. And the other thing, if you are doing academic research and if you are using AI, that could come back to you as a boomerang. Remember, when AI is there, when people are using AI to do their research works, then the opposite products are also coming into the market, recognizing AI work. Some institutes, some universities, they have already started using AI detectors, and there are some softwares like Turnitin. So these softwares can use when your documents are uploaded to these softwares, they can recognize the involvement of AI. So use AI in a wise way. දැනුවත්ව භාවිතා කරන්න, තමන්ට අදාළ තොරතුරක් විතරක් හොයන් පාවිච්චි කරන්න. හැබැයි තනිකර AI වලින් වැඩ කරගන්න ගියොත් ඒක එක පැත්තකින් තමන් වංචාවක් කරගන්නවා, අනිත් පැත්තෙන් ඒක තමන්ටම ආපහු කැරකිලා එන්න පුළුවන්. So gather some background information. Then using this information and using that general topic, narrow down your search. So we call this as funnel approach. Funnel එකක් විදිහට. Funnel කියලා කියන්නේ පුනීලයක්. අපි මෙන්න මේ method එක පාවිච්චි කරනවා නම් අපිට topic එක හිමින් narrow down කරගෙන හොඳ specific topic එකකට එනකම් ගලාගෙන එන්න පුළුවන්. So if you remember the general topic I selected the topic nutrition. And then under that, there are a number of subtopics. So nutrition, there are a lot of subtopics coming under this aspect, nutrition. So enhancing nutrition, nutrition related diseases, new technology related with nutrition. So number of topics are there. So search for what are these subtopics coming under this broader topic. So you are little bit narrowing down the things, and then select what is most suitable for you or what is interest to you. දැන් මේ තියෙන subtopic ගණනාවකි තමන්ට ගැලපෙන්නේ මම ආස දේ මොකක්ද කියන එක. දැන් මම මුලින්ම nutrition කියන එක තෝරගත්තා. As a subtopic මම තෝරගන්නවා nutrition related diseases, පෝෂණය සම්බන්ධ රෝග තත්ත්ව. And then I select one of these diseases. So I'm slowly narrowing down my topic. And then I raise some questions based on these topics. මම තෝරගෙන යන මේ narrow down කරගෙන subtopic එක්ක මම ප්‍රශ්න අහනවා මට. මේකෙන් ලංකාවේ වැඩිපුර තියෙන්නේ මොකක්ද? ලංකාවෙත් මේව වැඩිපුර දකින්න තියෙන කාගෙද? So I'm narrowing them slowly. And at the same time, I'm gathering some background information. So what you find interesting about these questions? For an example, I'm interested in finding anemia. Anemia in Sri Lanka. මේක ලංකාවේ තියෙන ප්‍රශ්නේ. ලංකාවේ anemia එහෙම නැත්නම් රක්තහීනතාවය කියන ප්‍රශ්නේ. මේක දැම්මේ nutrition වලින් ටික ටික nutrition related diseases in Sri Lanka, nutrition related diseases in Sri Lanka. Under that time selecting anemia, and when it's come to anemia එහෙම නැත්නම් රක්තහීනතාවය කියන ගත්තම what are the different types of anemia in Sri Lanka? So one of the most common thing we find in Sri Lanka related to the nutrition is iron deficiency anemia. යකඩ ඌනතාවෙ හින්දා ඇති වෙන රක්තහීනතාවය. So I'm selecting this iron deficiency anemia in Sri Lanka. And then I think about, okay, who I'm targeting, who are the people I'm looking into. So in this way, we can slowly narrow our topic down. So this is what you are doing in the funnel method. So here I put another example. So here is the broad aspect, gender inequality in the workplace. So there are a lot of workplace, lot of gender inequalities, a big topic. And they are narrowing it down a little, gender inequality in male-dominated workplaces. So they narrowed these workplaces into male-dominated workplaces, right? You know, there are some areas where female are working a lot, and there are some workplaces where males are working a lot. So here, the general topic is gender inequality in workplace, narrowed it little bit into male-dominated workplaces. And then they define what is this male-dominated workplace. Construction industry, narrowed little bit further. Construction industry, ඉදිකිරීම මනුෂ්‍ය කියන එකට narrow down කරනවා. The workplace එක define කරලා. එතකොට construction industry එකේ gender inequality කියන එක. Gender inequality in construction industry. So they are narrowing it down again into construction sites. Then construction industry කිව්වම එකෙත් තියෙනවා factories තියෙනවා, this basic product factories කියන්න පුළුවන්, planning areas කියන්න පුළුවන්, office works කියන්න පුළුවන්. So they are specifying further down into construction sites. So finally they are narrowing it, they are focusing on the last topic they are focusing on is gender inequality on construction site. So see, they started with gender inequality in the workplace and ended up with gender inequality on construction site. So this is what we called as the funnel method, starting with a big topic and narrowing it down. Okay. So far we have discussed regarding the basic approach for research as the scientific method. And also now we are on the way of understanding this research based on 5 Ws. And the first one is developing a topic. So here we have discussed about using the funnel method. Is it clear so far, or is there anything that you need to ask? මේ වෙනකන් කරපු යගේ මොනවා හරි අහන්න දෙයක් තියෙනවද?
Is it clear? Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. So we will proceed from this point. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Sorry. I must apologize that I'm not well today. So I'm having a bit of coughing. Okay. So please don't mind about that. Right. So now we have talked about what we are going to do. So it is about making your topic. And then since we have funneled our topic into some point, the next one would be why. So this question, this is not usually something reflect on your topic. Why you are doing this? So this is about your interest and getting the necessary support. Like I said, now you have come to this point in your topic. You have to think about why I am doing this. If you are doing this to obtain a particular qualification, like I said, a degree, a postgraduate degree, you have to think, is my topic is heavy enough to get this qualification? මේ qualification එක ගන්න මම තෝරගත්තු මේ topic එක, is it weight enough? මේක බර ඇතිද කියන එක. So you have to do some evaluation whether the weight of your topic is enough for your purpose. If you are doing this just because you are interested, then that is fine. The other thing is, are you doing this research to obtain some funding for some service or for to introduce something like a new product? So then, is this enough? Think you are an entrepreneur, or you are some kind of like promotional manager, so you are trying to promote something, hoping some investors do some investing on your company. So is this enough to produce the necessary data? මම මේ දේ ප්‍රොමෝට් කරන්න, මේ අලුත් ප්‍රොඩක්ට් එක හඳුන්වලා දෙන්න, මම මේ කරන සර්වේ එකේ data ඇතිද මේ ඉන්වෙස්ට්මන්ට් එක ගන්න? You have to ask, why I am doing this? Is this enough? Right. How we can get more help on this regard? So this is where comes your human contacts. Ask from your colleagues and ask from the expertise in the fields. It may be your tutor, or it may be some expertise in the field that you know, right? Tell about your idea, tell about what are you going to do, and ask for their opinion. But at the same time, you have to be cautious in this part, because since you haven't designed or conducted your study, some people might take advantage of this. And they might, if they find, oh, this is wow, this is interesting, this is something I was looking into, so they could steal your idea, they could get these intellectual ideas of yours and conduct research. Yes, these kind of things happens everywhere in the world. So you have to be cautious about with whom you are speaking. However, the point is, you have to understand why you are doing this. What is the purpose? Once you figure it out, you can proceed to the next W. Who will be your participants? Now, if you remember what I was funneling earlier, so I was making a funnel regarding the topic of nutrition, and I funneled it down to the iron deficiency anemia in Sri Lanka. So that was my last standing regarding my topic. Okay. Now then, when it's come to this iron deficiency in anemia in Sri Lanka, where I'm going to start this, who I'm going to looking into, මම දැන් කාගෙද මේක බලන්නේ? ලංකාවේ anemia කියන topic එක ගත්තම මේක මුළු රට පුරාම තියෙන ප්‍රශ්නයක්. From the newborn to the oldest person in Sri Lanka. Am I going to check this on everybody? මම හැමෝගෙම මේක බලනවද? Or I'm going to select some of these. I am going to put some criteria. මම කවුරු හරි තෝරාගත් පිරිසකද බලනවද? Who will be affected more here? කවුද මේ වැඩිපුරම මේකෙන් affect වෙන්නේ, මේ නැත්තම් මේකෙන් හානියට ලක් වෙන්නේ? So I will select who I am going to include in my study, who I am targeting. මම කවුද ඉලක්ක කරන්නේ කියලා මම plan කරන්න ඕනේ. Here, you have to think about the people you need to include as participant. So, in your research, you can use the term participants, you can use the term respondents. Technically, we use the term as sample. It is a very common one. And some people use the term subjects, but the term subject is not, according to me, it's not very good. It's not making our participants very humanistic. So if you are dealing with people, I would like you use the terms respondents or participants. So Think about the people if I'm including them. And then the next important thing when you are deciding your participants, will it be expensive to approach your participants? Will it be difficult to approach your participants? So it is working in this way. Think you need to gather some data from some of your selected participants, and you are living in Colombo, and these people are coming from, let's say, Jaffna. So approaching them physically would be quite expensive, and it would be time consuming. You have to think about this as well. And the other thing, let's take, since some participants here are enrolling in health related fields, so let's think about a sensitive topic like a STD. So STD means sexually transmitted diseases. If you're thinking about conducting some studies, is it easy to find the participants you are targeting? Those who are having this kind of infections or diseases. Are they putting some labels, I have this disease? No, it is difficult. So when you are funneling your topic into a narrow down one, you have to think about this budget and ease of access. Especially if you are doing this study as a single person or a small group, you have to think about your expenses as well. If you are a student following a postgraduate or undergraduate program, you have to think more about these things. Ease of access. මෙන්න මේ දේවල් ඔක්කොම ගැන හිතන්න ඕනේ අපි අපේ participants-ලා ගැන හිතනකොට. And use technology if possible. So see here, we are using internet to conduct this course. Can we do the same for research? Yes, we can. Especially if you are planning to conduct some interviews. You can do it face to face using the internet. And if you need to gather some data through a questionnaire, you can easily use a form like a Google form or Microsoft form. You can gather some data very easily without approaching people. Think about the alternatives and find the most convenient and easy approaches. So it should be easy for you and easy for the participants. Right. So thinking about my earlier topic, I'm planning to involve school children in Sri Lanka. So I'm narrowing down it a little bit more. Iron deficiency anemia among the school children in Sri Lanka. So it is more narrowed now. Now let's move into the next W. Where we are going to conduct this research. What is the place? One is thinking from the geographical terms. Are you living in Colombo and thinking of conducting the study in Ampara? Then how easy it is? So you have to think about your budget and ease of access. And also need for the venues. If you are conducting your some interviews, do you have proper venues for that? Do you need to pay for them? Are they confident enough? Are they silent enough? And then you have to think, can I use online platforms? Use these different options and decide upon the place. Now, If I'm thinking about my topic, which is I'm narrowing down up to the iron deficiency anemia in children in Sri Lanka, now I'm thinking where I'm going to conduct this study or research. Can I cover the whole country myself? Yes, I can. By that time, I won't be living. It will take years. Sorry. Can I cover a whole province? Yes. How long will it take? So be practical. So think of, if it is only one person, think about a small area. Maybe picking up a school or two. So I'm going to do this study by myself. So I will be picking up like 2 schools from one of the divisional secretariat areas. So that would be my where, the place. So I would narrow it down a little bit, my topic, iron deficiency anemia among the school children. Now I'm narrowing it down since I'm conducting the study in schools. Iron deficiency anemia in Sri Lanka among the school children who are attending. Then I'll put the names to these schools. Okay. Then the last one, when are you going to do your research? The time frame. Is it fitting in your time scale? So remember, especially if you are planning to do postgraduate studies, postgraduate research project, this is very important. Let me tell you about the current condition. Usually in Sri Lanka, if you are conducting a master's study by research, usually we call this as Master in Philosophy, MPhil degrees. If you are doing it a full-time one, you get 2 years minimum. If you are doing it part-time, you get 3 years. But I have seen people dragging their studies up to like 7 years, a master MPhil study. It's because with the problem regarding this when, not being able to adhere to the time scale. That is why you need to plan ahead. Now, when it's come to this topic, I am narrowing down. I am putting a time frame on myself. So since I'm selecting 2 schools, I'm taking it like 2 or 3 months. I'm setting my date to that time. So these 5 W's, what, why, who, when, where. So these 5 W's, you need to address one by one, and then finally you will get a properly narrowed down research question. A research topic. Start with a broad topic, then do some background search, keep continuing doing background search, narrow down into subtopics, and then one by one, consider the 5 W's, and then get into a narrow topic. This is very important. If you do not get sorted your topic properly, then the whole project, it's not going to be very smooth one. Okay. Right. Any questions? Anything so far? Okay. Right. I'm hoping it is clear up to now. This is the question I want you to ask once you get into the bottom of the funnel. Once you get into the bottom of the funnel and get your research questions, do you see all W's in your topic? Can you get all W's into one sentence? If your answer is yes, then you got a good research topic. If your answer is no, it's better to check again. Okay, right. Now I'm going to show you a couple of examples. Try to figure out if there anything missing in these topics, right? Okay, there are three topics. Some of these topics might align with your fields and some might not. So these are some research ideas presented by different people. So the statement 1, in this statement, it tells this research aims to find out what people think about television. Research එකෙන් aim කරනවා මිනිස්සු මොනවාද ටෙලිවිෂන් එක ගැන හිතන්නේ කියලා. What do you think about this statement? Is it a good one? Is containing all these W's? Right. It tells about what they are thinking. Right? So I'll go with this first one and then I will let you answer about the next two. It tells about generally, in a broad aspect, what they are going to do. Right? But what about who? Participants. It tells people. People. What a broad term. හරිම broad term එකක් people කියලා තියෙන්නේ. එතකොට මෙතනින් who කියන එක address වෙනවා. And also think. හිතන දේවල් අපි කොහොමද හරියටම කියන්නේ කියලා පොඩි ප්‍රශ්නයකුත් එනවා. How we can find about people what they're thinking. And then the next one, the next thing I find. So, about television. This is again a very, very broad term. About television. Is this about the television? Is it about the brands? Is it about the television manufacturing? Or is it about the television, some programs? What is it about? Is it about channels? It's very broad part. And where this has been conducted and when this has been conducted, nothing's included. So, a vague statement, බොහොම හරි aim එකක් නැති, අපි කියන්නේ මේකට vague statement එකක්. හරි definition එකක්, නිර්වචනයක් නැති statement එකක්. මේක research එකක් කරන්න ගියොත් ප්‍රශ්න ගොඩක්කට මුහුණ දෙන්න වෙනවා. That is the first one. Then the second one. This is something submitted by a student. My project is to do some research into Alzheimer's disease. For those who don't know about Alzheimer's disease, it is something related with the memory. So don't think too much about the term. Think about it as a disease condition. And my project is to do some research into Alzheimer's disease to find out what people do when their relatives have it, and what support they can get, and how nurses deal with it. What do you think about this? You think it is a good one? ඔයගොල්ලන්ට මොනවද හිතෙන්නේ මේක දැක්කම? Any idea? Anyone?
This one also we need to narrow down. Actually, they
Exactly.
not mention the area of the people, so institution like we need to narrow down.
Exactly. That also need to be narrowed down. And also, it is kind of messy. If you read it, you feel something is not right about the wordings and the sentence and those things. And then some problems with the terms as well. Let me show you some. Here, what people do when their relatives have it. So what people do? So is it about what they are doing to the relatives or what they do to themselves? It is a bit unclear. And what support they can get. So who is getting support, by the patients or the relatives? And also how nurses deal with it. Is nurses dealing with the disease or nurses dealing with the people here? Very complicated, this statement. And the third one, we want to find out how many of the local residents are interested in a play scheme for children during the summer holiday. Just by glance, you will see, okay, this have it all the W's. It includes what they are going to do. It includes who they are looking into. And then when they are going to do and where they are going to do. But if you look little bit deep into wordings, you will see some of the things are missing. So the thing here, they are looking for establishing a play scheme for the children. Play scheme for the children. And they are looking how many local residents are interested. How many local residents are interested? Now, my concern is a resident may be interested having a play scheme, but may not be willing to send their children there. So, rather than telling how many local residents are interested, I would say how many local residents are willing to use a play scheme. මේක ඉන්ට්‍රෙස්ට් නට වඩා දැන් මම කැමති වුණාට හරි එහෙම දෙයක් තියෙනක හොඳයි කිව්වට මම ඒක පාවිච්චි කරන්නද කියලා, because the point here is, if they're establishing something, it should be used by the local people, local resident in the town. If they're not using it, it's not worth. So residents should be willing to use it rather than being interested. So that's the problem with the third statement. Now you see, when we are dealing with wording, when we are dealing with this research, building up research topics, we have to be very careful into what we are writing. So always focus on these 5 W's and see whether your topic is telling about each of these aspects. And this last one, we are aiming to find the number of 5 years old children living in Galle municipal area who are getting flu infection during the southwest monsoon period 2025. Here, you may be able to see all W's. So what they are going to do? They are going to do to check about the children getting flu infection. Infection එක හැදෙන එක ගැන ළමයින්ට හැදෙන එක ගැන ඒගොල්ලෝ search කරන්න යනවා. Who they are going to involve? 5 years old children, අවුරුදු 5 වෙන ළමයි. And where they are going to do it? Galle municipal area. So the boundary is there. කොහෙද කරන්න කියලා boundary එකක් දැන් තියෙනවා. When they are going to do it? During the southwest monsoon period 2025. එතකොට 2025 නිරිතදිග මෝසම් කාලෙදී මෙන්න මේ ඉන්ෆෙක්ෂන් එක එන්නේ කවුද? ගාල්ල දිස්ත්‍රික් ගාල්ල නගර සභා ඒරියා එකේ නාගරික සීමාවෙ ඉන්න අවුරුදු 5 ළමයින්ට ෆ්ලූ හැදෙන එක ගැන හොයන්න යන්නේ. කී දෙනෙක්ට හැදෙනවද කියලා. So this is something you can see all these files, all these W's as a research topic. If you can build up something like this, the next step of your research would be much, much easier. Okay. Any questions so far? Anything to clarify? Remember, at any point, you are totally free to put a message and ask for any clarification, okay? Sorry. Now, since we have funneled down our topic, the next thing would be turning our topic into a research question. So, what I told is, making this research, it includes sorry. If you want to make your research into a success, you need to have a good question to be answered. So the first step is building up the topic. Once you have your topic, then you need to ask the question you need to get answered. What are the things that we need to include in our question? When you are converting your topic into a question, it makes the question more narrowed and focused. Think about so what about your topic. What do you mean by so what? මොකක්ද අපි මේ so what කියලා කියන්නේ? අපි සිංහලෙන් කිව්වොත් ඉතින් මොකද කියන එක. හරි එහෙමනම් ඒක මොකද? Why does this topic matter to you? මේක ඔයාට මොකක්ද හේතුව? මේ මොකක්ද මේ topic එකේ වැදගත්කම? Why should it matter to others? මේක අනිත් අයට වැදගත් වෙන්න හේතුව මොකක්ද? When you are making it into a question, think about this. Now, these qualities should be present in your research question. What aspect of the more general topic you will explore? So this is about narrowing it down. That's where we use that funnel method. That specific part of the general topic you are exploring. It's not about the whole part. Now, is your research question clear? What about the clarity? Is your research question more focused? Is it focusing towards one aim? එක ඉලක්කයක් කරා තියෙනවද නැත්නම් හැම පැත්තටම අරකින් ටිකකුත් හොයනවා මේකින් ටිකකුත් හොයනවා එහෙම වෙනවද? Is your research question complex? අවශ්‍ය තරමට සංකීර්ණයිද? Remember, if your question is too simple and can give a yes no answer, then you do not need to do a research. ප්‍රශ්නට කෙලින් උත්තරයක් දෙන්න පුළුවන් නම් research question එකට research එකක් කරන එකේ තේරුමක් නැහැ අපි. So it need to be complex but not over complexed. What about clarity? So I'm putting some examples here, right? So the first one, the clarity is not there. Why are social networking sites harmful? Right. It is not telling you about which kind of harm. It is not telling you about which social networks. And it is not telling about who are the people being harmed. So this question, it lacks lot of clarity. මේක පැහැදිලිකම හොඳටම අඩුයි. මේක හරිම general question එකක්. Now the clear one, the same thing, more defined, more narrowed down, and with more clarity. How are online users experiencing or addressing privacy issues on social networking sites like MySpace and Facebook? So this is about the users. So it clarifies about the people, and how they are addressing their privacy issues, how they are answering, how they address, and which kind of sites, MySpace and Facebook. So two sites have been identified. So there we can see the clarity in this question. So always remember to maintain the clarity in the research question. Then the focus. The first one, it is not focusing any specific area. What is the effect on the environment from global warming? You know, global warming, everybody talking about like a big disaster. So someone is thinking about, okay, I will check about the effect on environment from global warming. So how there are a lot of environmental effect, and which one I am looking into. If someone is doing this, they need to look into the greenhouse effect, then glacier issue, melting of the glaciers, and then rising of the sea levels, then changes in the air currents, problems with the wildlife. Lot of problems are there, lot of effects are there. So it is not focused. But if we talk about something like, how is glacial melting affecting penguins in Antarctica? There is the focus, focusing on one effect, glacial melting happening in Antarctica, how it is affecting the penguins. So this question includes more focus. So that is the second characteristic that should be shown in your research question. Then, simple versus complex. Like I said, if your question is too simple, then you won't be able to conduct a proper study. How are doctors addressing diabetes in Sri Lanka? Yes, diabetes is a big problem even in Sri Lanka, expending a lot of money by the government, by the people. So how the doctors are addressing this? Then the problem. What does mean by this address? Is it about medicine? Is it about finding solutions? Is it about treatment plan? Is it about helping with this habits of the patients? What is it about addressing diabetes? මොකද්ද මේ එතකොට මෙතන මේ ફોකස් කරන්නේ නැත්නම් හොයන්නේ මොකක්ද? බොහොම සරල ප්‍රශ්නයක් අහලා තියෙනවා. Too simple. Then we need to make it little bit complex, but appropriately complex. So making it complex based on your need. Are you doing this for your master's or your PhD? Make it more complex. Are you doing this just out of interest? Okay. Keep it complex, appropriate for you. ඕනුලා complex කරන්න එපා. තමන්ට එපා නොවන ගානට. කරගන්න පුළුවන් ගානට complex කරාම ඇති. What are the common traits of those suffering from diabetes in Sri Lanka? ලංකාවේ diabetes තියෙන කට්ටියට තියෙන පොදු ලක්ෂණ මොනවාද? suffer කරන්නේ මොනවාගෙන්ද? And how these can these commonalities be used to aid the medical community in prevention of the disease? මේ ලක්ෂණ කොහොමද පාවිච්චි කරගෙන disease prevention කරන්න ලංකාව ඇතුලේ? So it is kind of appropriately complex, looking into two things. What are the similar traits or common traits among the patients, and how the doctors are using these characteristics to deal with the disease. Right. So these are the traits that we are looking into a proper research question. Sorry. Okay. So, is it clear so far? Any questions? Right. Now, we talk about the research topic and the question, and the next step would be developing the objectives. So, when it's come to the research methodology, we are always talking regarding SMART objectives or SMART goals. So, if you are smart enough to develop these SMART objectives, then the research would have a nice plan. And if you got a nice plan, then you would be able to comfortably do your research without having a lot of problems. So what do we mean by these SMART objectives? First of all, let's see why we need the objectives. Mainly, it set some boundaries for our study. Now, let me go back to that topic I was discussing. Iron deficiency, anemia among the school children in Sri Lanka. That's under that we can do a lot of things. We can search about how search for how many students in these schools are having anemia. We can check the levels of iron levels or hemoglobin, those kind of things. And we can see about their nutrition levels, how they are eating, drinking, and see why there is anemia. So, lot of things can be done. එතර මෙන්න මේ විදිහට ගොඩාක් දේවල් කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඇයි මේගොල්ලන්ට anemia එන්නේ? ඇයි මේගොල්ලන් කෑම ගන්නෙ කොහොමද? මේගොල්ලන් බෙහෙත් ගන්නවද? නැත්නම් මේගොල්ලන්ගේ රුධිරයේ තත්ත්වය මොකක්ද? කී දෙනෙක්ට මේ anemia තියෙනවද? So, if we are going to find all of these things, then it is again going to be a big project. That's where the objectives comes. It put us in some boundaries. අපිට සීමාවල් ටිකක් පනවනවා. Give us some limitations. Therefore, we know this is what we need to achieve. This is the direction we need to follow. So it puts some boundaries, it gives us some directions, and following these directions, we can maintain the clarity throughout our research. මේක තේරෙන භාෂාවෙන් කිව්වොත් අයාල යන්නේ නැතුව අපිට පුළුවන් හරි දිශානතිය අපේ රිසර්ච් එක ගෙනියන්න. සීමාවෙන් පිටපනින්න නැතුව, without going out of our limitations and without going into improper directions, and we can focus on the final outcome. You know, when we are building up a research question, now we just discussed that one, we are telling what we are going to find. අපි කියනවා මෙන්න මේ දේ තමයි අපි හොයන්න යන්නේ. Right? By setting these objectives, we are focusing on that final outcome. එතකොට අපි මේ objective set කරන්නේ, අපි objective හදාගන්නේ. අන්නේ final outcome එකට යන්න පාර හදාගන්න. Simply, if you achieve this objective one by one, if your study can achieve this objective one by one, then at the end of your research, you must have achieved that outcome. You must get the answer for that research question. May එක ප්‍රශ්නට. So a research can have more than one objective. When you get answers for all of these objectives, when you achieve all of these objectives, you have found the answer for your research question. එතකොට මේ ඔක්කොටම උත්තරේ හොයාගත්තන් පස්සේ ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ research question එකට උත්තරේ හම්බ වෙලා. So that is the best thing regarding setting good objectives. Right. Again, something done by some researchers, especially the beginners. මේකත් මම දැකලා තියෙන දෙයක්. Again, while doing supervising and observing the undergraduate research, sometimes the students and some people, they develop the objectives after doing the whole research. Okay, never ever do that. Sometimes people do collect some data, do some analysis here and there, and then based on that, okay, these are my objectives. That is completely wrong. Never do that. Never even think about doing that. First set the objectives, then do the research to achieve these objectives. Now, we are talking about not just objectives, we are talking about SMART objectives. SMART objectives. This is an acronym for some characteristics that should be available in our objectives. SMART. Specific, M for measurable, A for attainable, R for it could be realistic or relevant, T for time bound. And this slide you can see some of the do's and some of the don't. I will explain the meaning of each of these do's and don't. Altogether, these 5 characteristics, they make your objectives SMART. The first one, being specific. This is what we have discussed so far. What exactly are you going to do? And whom you are targeting. So you should have answer what, who, and where. මොකද්ද කරන්නේ, කාටද කරන්නේ, කොහෙද කරන්නේ. It identify the population, it identify the setup. Setup means the environment or the location, and it identifies the specific actions. Okay. Sorry. So it gives the specificity for the objective. When you are writing the objective, always remember what, who, and where. Then M, measurable. Your objective should be able to measure. Can you measure? This is in a concrete way. Concrete means you should be able to point it out. It should not be abstract. Abstract කියලා කියන්නේ අපිට touch කරන්න බැරි දෙයක් ගැන. It should be a concrete way. It should be either a number. මේක number එකක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. It should be something like a graph or a chart. It should be some creation. Or it could be something like a demonstration. Okay. In that way, you should be able to show the output in a concrete way. And to achieve that, while planning your research, you should set some proper measurement, proper methods of data. So that we are going to discuss during the methodology part. Now, when you are setting the objectives, you have to express them in words like statements. And to express the measurability of your objective, you have to carefully use measurable verbs. If you are using the verbs, you have to provide with measurable verbs. මනින්න පුළුවන් ක්‍රියාපද වලින් තමයි objective එක ලියන්න ඕනේ. Use measurable verbs such as analyze, assess, compare, demonstrate, determine, evaluate, measure, predict, test. So those things you can use. මොකද මේ හැම එකක්ම අපිට measure කරන්න දෙයක් කරලා පෙන්නන්න ඒ වගේ පෙන්නන්න පුළුවන් දේවල්. We can show these words by doing. So always use these action verbs. There are more to these. I will provide the separate list for you. When we are after these sessions, I think you already know that you will be added into the registered members, you will be added into a WhatsApp group. So I will share some extra resources as well, because within 10 hours, there's this limited knowledge I can impart on you. So I'll be sharing some extra resources. So a list of these verbs I will be giving as a document. However, do not use these kind of verbs in writing the objectives. Understand. How can you measure the understand? Right? And so you write objective like this. To understand the understand the knowledge regarding use of proper social media. Let's put something like that. To understand the knowledge of using proper social media. How you understand their knowledge? You can assess their knowledge, asking some questions or something, but how you understand? So it is not measurable. Learn. To learn so I write something like this. To learn child experience regarding learning mathematics. How can I learn their experience? If I want to learn their experience, I should be one of them. මමත් ළමයෙක් වෙන්න ඕනේ ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ experience එක ඉගෙන ගන්න නම්. So that is not measurable. Familiarize, know, knowing, be aware of. How can we measure these things? So Never use these unmeasurable verbs when you are writing the objectives. Then your objective should be attainable or achievable. Simply, they should be practical. Do you have the required time? Do you have the required resources with you to complete this? And sometimes I see some people come with very nice research projects, but they are not practical in the real world. Even now I'm dealing with some of the research project with some more students from some universities in Sri Lanka. So I have to mention them again and again. Are these things are practical? For an example, recently I got to involved in a research project which is involving nurses in Sri Lanka. There, the investigators were planning to use a QR code to access into online questionnaire to gather some data from the nurses. My question was, the nurses in Sri Lanka are quite busy running in the wards and things. Do they get a time to scan this QR code and fill out this questionnaire? Is this practical? Then they had to change it again because they agreed with that. It is practical in the real world, your objective. And do you have all these support, financial support, human resources? Think about that when you are writing the objective. For an example, if I write like, suppose I am the only investigator for my research, I'm writing to calculate the number of drug addicts in north central province in Sri Lanka by the end of 2025. So can I do it by myself? No, I can't. So it is not achievable or attainable objective. Then comes to the realistic. It is little bit going with the attainable and achievable, but here the difference is the objective should be relevant as well. Is your objective going along with the desired outcome? Think you are looking into the safe use of social media among the online network users, but you are setting some objective to assess the number of online users accessing e-commerce platforms. Yes, it is a good objective. It is attainable and all these things are there, but it is not relevant because your final outcome is towards social media. Social media ගැන හොයන්න research එකක e-commerce ගැන මේ access කරන එක ගැන හොයන්න ගියාම මොකද්ද වෙන්නේ? ඒක අදාළ නැති දෙයක් වෙනවා. Then finally, time bound. Can you achieve these objectives during the allowed time frame? Can you do your research during the incorporated time? You have to select a proper time, not extended and not shorter. That's why I said if you are doing like big studies like PhD and MPhils kind of things, there are like 2 to 5 years, 2 to 7 years. This kind of time frames are there because a big time is needed for big research and then a small time can be incorporated for a small research. Now, these are some examples from different areas. These examples include some SMART objectives. So these SMART objectives, check whether you can identify the SMART components in these objectives. එතකොට මේ හැම එකක්ම ලියලා තියෙන්නේ smart components include වෙන විදිහට. So all of these includes some smart components. You should try to identify the smart components in each of these ones. The first one is studied by a university student, maybe an undergraduate student. His smart objective for his study to calculate the percentage of grade 11 students from the name is Z College, who are having their own home broadband facilities by November 2025. So it is specific. It tells what he is going to do. It is measurable because he is going to calculate a percentage. See it kiyadda kiyala balanawa. Is it attainable? Yes. And it is relevant? Yes, because he's doing it in one college. Is it time bound? Yes, he's going to do it by November 2025. So one college, and is specified only for grade 11 students. So you can identify the smart components in this state objective. And I'm going a little bit bigger in the next example. A study by a telephone company to assess the levels of satisfaction among the customers who are using the X brand phones in Sri Lanka in the year of 2024. For the last year, this company is trying to assess the customer satisfaction. So it tells what they are going to do. So it is specific. Is it measurable? Yes. අපිට පුළුවන් මේ satisfaction level එක බලන්න interview එකකින් එහෙම නැත්නම් පොඩි questions ටිකකින් බලන්න පුළුවන්. Attainable? Yes. They have the resources because it is a company, not a single person, not a group. Relevant? Yes, it is relevant for their company. Is it time bound? Yes, they are doing it for the year of 2024. Then I'm going into a bigger scale, a survey by Sri Lanka government to analyze the need for establishing a national fund for preserving the wild elephant population in Sri Lanka by 2027. This is what we called as a need analysis. We will discuss it about these things later. So it is specific, it is telling what they are doing, and it is telling, it is measurable because they are going to analyze the need. අවශ්‍යතාවයක් හොයන්න යන්නේ මෙහෙම අවශ්‍යතාවයක් තියෙනවද නැද්ද? එතකොට මිනිස්සුන්ගෙන් අහලා ඒ සංවිධාන වලින් අහලා බලන්න පුළුවන් whether there is a need or not for this kind of national fund. Is it attainable? Yes. For a government, yes, it is attainable. Is it relevant? Yes, in the given project. Is it time bound? Yes, it has given like 2 years time. Just for identifying the need for a national fund. So these are some examples for objectives including smart component. Specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound. Okay. So, right. In today's session, we discuss some basic but important component regarding research methodology. So it was about narrowing down topic into a research question using the funnel method and developing smart objectives so we can plan ahead for the major methodology part section of the research project. And also we simply discussed regarding the scientific method and some important aspect at the beginning for the beginning of the research, asking questions ourselves, making interest, and getting involved in the research. So you see, research is not a very complex thing. it is applying the scientific process into what we are doing in day-to-day life, getting answers for the questions arising in our life. Right. So we are now we are reaching to the end of the session. I would like to remind that the recording of this will be shared by the ICT campus with you. And the date for the sessions, there has been little slight change due to my health condition. So actually we were planning to do another one tomorrow, but there has been a slight change. I will share the date later. Okay. So we will do the next session in the next weekend. For tomorrow session, I will share the date later on. If you got any question, you can ask, and if you need to provide any background, any feedback or something, you can provide that as well. So I use Sinhala language for some explanations, but if you don't want that, you can tell that one as well. If you're happy to conduct in this pace, that's also fine. Anything you need to ask, this is the time. I can give you like 1 or 2 minutes. Sorry.
Your lecture is very useful. I can recall my old lecture memories, and I can understand very well. Thank you very much.
Okay, that's good to hear. So we will next day we will go with the more in-depth explanations and into some in-depth discussion regarding research designs. Okay, if you have any questions, I think you will be added to this WhatsApp group, and you can discuss the questions on ongoing queries and things. Then we can have ongoing chat as well during this course duration as well. So thank you so much for joining for today, and we will continue our session in the next one. Dates will be shared with you with that slight change regarding tomorrow's session. Thank you so much, and have a sorry, so for me it is still the evening time. Have a good night for you.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, sir.